Hi everybody, my name is Caitlin. I'm going to be showing you how to make this style resin collage. It's very colorful. The paint will give us that look. Down here is sand. So I'm going to walk you through everything here and show you how to do this step by step. Let's first take out our kit and go through all the supplies that we have. We have a bottle of resin marked with a 1, a bottle of hardener marked with a 2, and then cups for each of them. The cups will be marked with a 1 and a 2 as well. We'll pour our bottle of resin into the cup that says resin, and then we'll pour our bottle of hardener into the cup that says hardener. So then we're left with our resin and our hardener in our cups that are labeled as resin and hardener. All right, so let's start with that. And then just we're gonna go through our kit here just so I can show you everything that we have. We have little baby starfish. We have one big mama starfish. We have some nice natural colored crushed shells. We have some crushed mirror. We have sand. We have a couple seashells here. If you have any seashells you'd like to add or things you found on the beach, you can always add them to your resin projects. If they are a little porous, like a starfish or a sand dollar would be if you found it on the beach, you just want to Mod Podge them and give them a little seal so they don't absorb the resin. All right, we also have some popsicle sticks. The big one will be for mixing our resin. We have a bunch of little ones here. Just trying to get everything out of my kit and lay it all out. We have white paint, blue paint, and some teal paint. Gloves. And then these 4 containers, 4 plastic containers, which we are going to put down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in your kit you also got a frame. You'll notice one side of the frame has silicone around all 4 edges. That's so the resin doesn't leak through. That will go on the back side. So silicone side down. And then I'm laying this frame on my cups so that all 4 cups meet the glass. You don't want them on the frame part. All 4 should be under the actual glass frame, okay? So let's start there, get everything sorted out, unpack your kit, get your frame set up, and get your resin and your hardener poured. And then next I will show you how to mix it. Okay, so we have our hardener and our resin. Once they're in our cups, I'm just going to go ahead and pour cup number 2, which is our hardener, into cup number 1. And then take that large popsicle stick and just scrape the excess out. You want to get all of that into the cup. Okay, so now to mix our resin, our hardener has been poured into our cup of resin, and with this stick we're just going to start stirring. Stir, stir, stir. As you're stirring, you will see it immediately starts to change. It gets cloudy and almost metallic-y. As you continue to stir, it will change. We're not whipping, it's not a race, nice steady stir, not too slow, not too fast. Just a little bit. Okay. If I'm looking at this from the side, it's about a 1/2 inch. Not much at all. Okay, so I'm going to put this to the side. That'll be for our white later on. I still have plenty left in my cup here. So we're going to work from the bottom, our sand area, and then work our way up. So our sand is actually not paint, it's actual sand. So we want to pour clear resin in that area. So anywhere you're going to put sand, you have to keep your resin clear, because if you poured a tinted resin like a blue or green resin, the sand will pick up that color. Okay, so let's start there. And don't drive yourself crazy about how much you're pouring. You're going to break it up into about 3 sections. And I'm going on that angle because I want that nice slope, okay? So pouring in that angle. Still have plenty in my cup. I'm going to take that popsicle stick and just kind of spread this to the edges. I want to make sure there's resin in all those little edges, okay? Okay, so that's plenty of room for my sand. Not gonna pour my sand yet. I'm gonna get all of my resin onto my frame and then start working with the other stuff. So in my cup, I have a good amount still left. I'm going to crack open my teal, and I'm going to scoop some of this right into my cup. Mix it up. Let that paint get really mixed well in there so there's no streaky lines. Okay, that's looking good. I'm going to add just a little more to be safe. So I want a nice, colorful look here. I still have plenty of paint in there. I used about half of it. All right, so mix, mix, mix. I don't want any streaky lines in there. Now, this is a really important part. You want to, I'm going to pour about half of this out. I'm going to leave half of this teal in here, and then I'm going to darken it and turn it into that dark blue area. Okay, so here we go. Remember, I'm going to really control this with the popsicle stick, so I'm going to try not to worry so much where it ends up. Okay, take my stick again, and it's okay if it mixes with the clear area. It's going to, it should. You don't want it to be, you know, 2 separate areas. All right, so this is pretty good. I could still work on this once all the resin's poured. I have my clear, I have my teal, and I spread it just so it's hitting both, you know, all those edges near the frame. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my dark blue. And put that right in what's left in the cup. So changing that teal to a dark blue now. Mix, mix, mix. I'm mixing away that teal. And you'll know by the color of it if you need a little more. This is looking good. Take just a touch more. You shouldn't need all of the paint, whether it's the teal or the blue. Give you a little extra. All right, so here's a nice blue now. So now I'm going to pour the rest of this out. All right, let's scrape the extra, whatever's left in that cup, just kind of scrape it out. All right, so now I'm going to use this stick, do the same thing, just spreading it to my edges. Don't worry about your frame right now, we'll clean that up in a little bit. Remember, your blue and your teal are going to mix, that's okay. Those streaky lines, You see, as I'm spreading, they just disappear after you leave it alone. So now this is covered in blue. I'm gonna put this in the cup, get it away from my project. I don't want to use that one again. I'm gonna take a clean one. And if you see here, I have in between where my two colors are meeting, nice swirly look. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of that. You can leave it with this nice, just leave it how it naturally flowed out, or you can kind of combine them and create that like marbleized swirling look, okay? You can bring a little bit of that teal into the blue. You're almost like creating little designs here. Okay, it's up to you how much you want to do this. Okay, sometimes less is more. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the cup, my cup of stuff I'm not gonna use again. Now, that little cup we put to the side before with a tiny bit of resin saved in there will be for my white. I'm gonna pop open my white, scoop some white in. Remember, this is a very little bit of resin, so a little bit of paint is gonna go a long way. Added my white paint, mixing it up. Now, rather than pouring this time, I'm drizzling, okay? Which I do love. Okay, so start with even less than you think you need when you're first, you first start off. And at first it's gonna scare you, for sure. See, they kind of landed in dots, that's okay. Because we're gonna still kind of work them through. Okay, maybe you wanna keep it on that angle. However they land is really fine. Try not to let it stress you out, because this is not our final product. All right, so a little bit of white in there. I'm gonna put some white down here too, of course. You can really customize, after you watch the whole video, you'll understand what's going on here, and then you can really play around with it. All right, so then that I think is enough for now. I'm gonna go ahead and now just swirl it around. I don't want that drizzled look. I want, or those dots that ended up coming out. I want almost like, these are my white caps out in the ocean. Right, looks really cool. And you can always go back, drizzle a little more. Now you want to be careful. That's why I gave you a lot of sticks. So I'm going to put this to the side in case I need it again, but I don't want to bring my blue stick into here because I want to keep this nice and teal here, right? Okay. All right, so however much white you want to play with and add to your picture is up to you. You'll kind of develop your own technique for swirling that around. And now in my bottom area where the clear resin is, we're gonna pour our sand. And be careful here, take your time, don't let it all, sprinkling that sand out. You may not need all of this sand depending on how big your sand area is. If your teal's taken over a little more area than you wanted it to, you can cover a small part of it with sand. Just, keep in mind the color could come through, but we can always dress it up with some of our stuff if you see any of that coming through. Okay, so sprinkle it out. If you do want to get in there with your hands, take your gloves off and you could sprinkle like that. Right. So I didn't use all the sand, it's not necessary. I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my stuff in there. And again, here's a nice look at our finished one. I just got blue in there just now from working on this one. We have our big starfish, kind of where the water meets the sand, breaking it up a little bit. Let me put a little more sand here. Okay, I really like this crushed mirror. And I like that, you know, on our shoreline where the water's meeting the sand. Again, more than you need. Another idea with this little crushed mirror stuff here, you could put just a couple out in the water just for some sparkle. Up to you. Looks like, you know, you might realize you need a little more sand in some areas. You can always go back. And then I have the crushed shell. Again, this is plenty more than I have in the example, so don't feel like you need to use it all. And maybe you want to be more precise and, you know, place them with your hands. Up to you. You know, this is a small little sand area, so I'm not going to overdo it. All right, and then I have these really cute little baby starfish. Put them wherever you want. Just kind of tap them in so they're hitting some resin to hold them in place. All right, wherever you want to lay them. And then I have some bigger shells. Again, I'm just giving them a little tap so I know that they're definitely catching the resin. And I'm not overdoing it. That's really perfect if you ask me. I don't even think I want to add another one to this one just because I ended up with like a little bit less sand area here. And then the big guy, up to you. Maybe we want to put it over this way. All right, tap it in. Looks good. We have one more thing I don't think I mentioned when I took the kit out, is just this really, really fine glitter. We call this our fairy dust. If you're a glitter person, you can add this. And be careful with it. You know, just use your fingers to sprinkle. I wouldn't tap it out of the container. I am obviously a glitter person, so I like it everywhere. Okay, it gives it just a nice little sparkle. Okay, so you can see here that it is a little different, just the layout, you know, than the one I made here, but they both look great. This one has a little more, looks like I played a little more with the white and, you know, mixing the colors together here, and that's definitely an option for you at home. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a baby wipe or just a wet paper towel and clean up my frame. And then what you wanna do is cover this. You wanna cover this for the next 3 days. It needs to cure for 72 hours. After 72 hours, you are good to go. But for covering it, you wanna put maybe a big Tupperware container over it. If you don't have one on hand, you could put 4 cups around the frame and then just lay like a baking sheet over it. Keep it away from pets and children, okay? And I hope you guys really enjoy this. We love it when you send us your finished product, and enjoy.